Hello and welcome to my 2024 Game of the Year tier list. So what I am doing here is taking all the games I played in 2024, regardless of release year, and ranking them all together and see who is the best one. I forgot to change the colors back to where they were before. So I'm going to go do some color changes right now. I think these are the ones I had before. It's like this. I need to add a row above here. Cool. Yes, this year I actually put together a little playlist of songs that that are relevant to the games I played. So I'm thinking ahead. So I kept a media thread throughout 2024 and wrote little comments about each one as I went along. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the game on deck. I'm going to read the comment, and I'm going to go into further conversation. So without further ado, let's start with the first one, Banjo-Kazooie. The only asterisk this year, so let's get that out of the way. I played a fuckload of Banjo-Kazooie as a kid. Never beat it. So this was more about me finally finishing the game than it was about, it being a new game I never played. So I just realized, speaking of something, this is on shuffle, right? Okay, yeah. To play this is on shuffle. Good, good. So the comment I put, well, it kind of summed it up for me. More of a mission of finally beating a childhood favorite. A classic that holds up remarkably well. It's an N64 game, so some jank is expected, but its pacing is great, and its aesthetic is charming. Only Rusty Bucket Bay sucks. The rest of the worlds are great. A joy to finish. So, since then, I've come around on the opinion that it's not really Rusty Bucket Bay that sucks, it's the notes resetting if you die that sucks. I think that's like the main flaw with the game, in general. But, it is still, in my opinion, probably the best Nintendo 64 game ever made. It took what was good about Mario 64, and ran its own spin on it, and the best thing it did was not kick you out of the level after collecting the MacGuffins. Like, that's just makes the gameplay flow so well. The mix is great. It's full of charm, full of energy, full of bounciness. I think it was one of my favorite games as a child. I just never got to finish it, so I finished it now, and I think it deserves the highest honors in S rank. It's that good, and I would play it again. Absolutely. Next game, Xenosaga Episode 1, German stuff. Let's see here. A game with great music, good characters, and intriguing story. The gameplay, however, is a chore. Field navigation is tedious, especially when you need to backtrack, and battles can drag on with lengthy animations. I did get the hang of systems eventually, but very deep in, and it didn't mitigate the slow battles. Still, it was worth it to see all the threads and parallels with Xenogears and Xenoblade, and I'm eager to press on. I still haven't pressed on yet. Left. I think I have enough screen room. I'm gonna move this over and then minimize this, and I can hide the member list so I can have more screen real estate, and put it between here and the chat. There. I don't have to keep looking away. Anyway. Xenosaga was a game I had fun with, and yeah, like I said, it's great music. Great story. Great characters. It was a bit of a chore, though. It's at least the mercifulness of the Xenosaga games is that they're not as long as Xenogears, or definitely not Xenoblade. But, it was a bit of a little bit of a chore to play. Like, it felt kind of slow to navigate around. Like, even Xenogears felt better to run around, but it's because it was mostly because the characters moved faster. I don't know. I enjoyed my time with it, for the most part, even with the flaws, but where would I put this? It's like Because to me, it's kind of a big deal that I finally got to play this, and I do want to play the others. I have them, they're over there on the shelf. But I'm wondering if it's going to feel like an obligation or if I'm actually going to enjoy them. Because, like, the thing that really held me on was the story. The story was good. I think, as much as a fan I am of Xenogears, and especially the Xenoblade games, it is the lesser of them. And I'm very curious to see how it'll feel about 2 and 3 when I get to them. I think I'm going to put it down here in B. Because the gameplay does hold it back a bit. Sad as I am to say. Celeste 64, Fragments of the Mountain. This surprising little free game they just dropped out of nowhere. Celebrate, I think it was the 6th anniversary of Celeste. Let's see. It's a little floaty and fucks with my depth perception, but I'm not about to nitpick a game made in a week-ish. It's fun and very charming, and now I just want a fully fleshed out version of this. Yeah, this was a fun game to play. I do remember the depth perception stuff. Like, I don't have that problem with 3D platformers a lot of the time, but for this one it was really screwy for some reason. Like, I kept missing platforms I feel like I should have made. Maybe I just wasn't used to the controls of the game? I'm not sure, but I like the art style. The music was great. But, I mean, Celeste music was already good. It was mostly like 64-style remixes of it. Maybe it was slightly original music? I don't remember for sure. I didn't listen to Celeste I didn't listen to Celeste soundtrack fully. I have one very favorite song off that soundtrack. Sure. But I like the music in this. It was fun to play, and it was really short, to be sure. And even with the flaws, it's also hard to consider where I want to put this, because it was a free game. I didn't have to pay money for this, and again, it was a small, weekish long game. Oh, hey. Speaking of. I'm thinking low A, high B, based on several factors. So, like, again, there was some stuff that felt off to me, but I don't want to go too hard because it was made very quickly, and I was intrigued enough to want more, so I'm gonna put it here at A. It's gonna be a low A. As always, we will reassess at the end and see how we feel about things. But for now, it's going to go there. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. What a wild thing to exist, huh? A spiritual successor to the Zelda CDI games. Led by someone who ported the CDI games to PC in very streamlined and improved remastered versions. Someone loves these games enough to do that and make a sequel. And, to read my note, generally captures the ridiculousness of the CDI games well, while actually being fun to play. Nice graphics and pleasing music tickle my nostalgia for early 90s CD-ROM games. The backtracking can get tedious, but otherwise a fun game overall. And inspiring, because the thing I'd come away with thinking about this later on was 2 games considered to be among the worst games ever made. We'll talk about them later. Left note, it's lewd. Inspired someone enough to make a whole new game out of it, and make something good out of it. If that's not uplifting, I don't know what is. Like, if you think your work sucks, it could still inspire someone. So, keep going, keep making that thing. Like, I'm not saying like it's gonna be so bad that people are gonna be like, I'm gonna make a better version. No, this was a labor of love for sure. Yeah, like I said, the backtracking was a little bit annoying in the sense of having to go back and find things you missed. Especially if you don't remember where a thing was to progress to another thing. But it looked great. felt great. I would love to play a randomizer with this. I wish it would put an Archipelago. Because I think that style would suit Archipelago perfectly. The music is fantastic. And like, yeah, as someone who grew up on like the early 90s CD-ROM era, it definitely brought back a lot of nostalgia visually and musically, even without having played the CDI games. The story was good levels of goofy. It really did feel like, well, I can say this with authority more now than I could when I first played it. It really did feel like a successor to the CDI games with all the charm and just great gameplay in general. So, I want to put that in A. Yo, Obi! Thank you for the raid. Hope you're streaming well. Don't mind me, I'm just doing... I saw you were doing a tier list earlier, but I didn't have time to check in. Hope that was fun. I'd be interested to see. But speaking of tiers, right now, I'm going to put RZ in A above Celeste 64. I think some of the tedious elements are enough to keep it up as, but it's still a really good game. I would recommend. Yeah. Just a fun. What can I say? Once I finally got into tier lists, I'm like, yeah, you know, tier lists are the future. Next game, Doom 2016. I finally got into the Doom series. I played the original before in little bits and pieces, but never actually beat it. So more of that soon. But I don't remember if I started with this or this year. I think I played the... Yeah, okay, I started with this because it was on that big list of that I made in 2022 of games to play this year. Which, by the way, I still have 8 games left on that list. I made a second list, but I called that one, like, please consider these. As a little fun little thing, and I put a bunch of games on it. And it's not like, hey, fucker, play these games. It's more like, here's the games you've never played or never finished. If you're looking for something to play, maybe consider one of these. That's all that is. So it'll probably take longer to finish. Who knows? But yeah, I started this, and I super dug it. Let's get to my comment. A stellar fucking experience. Hey, do you know what tier is going to go in now? Non-stop frenetic action. Very little bullshit. Doom 64. Very rewarding to explore for secrets. A simple setup executed masterfully. Sometimes that's all you need in the game, and the game knows what you're here for. Loved every minute. And yeah, no. This game is phenomenal. It looks excellent. It has some plot, and there are a couple moments where the plot, like, gets in the way, where you're literally just standing there listening to someone talk. D tier stands for Doom. True, let's put them all here. No. And those are, like, the most annoying parts of the game, because you can't skip them. Like, the first time through, I did read all the lore and stuff, and I thought, like, it was cool what they were building. But at the same time, I just want to go kill the fucking demons. So... like, the guns... Most of the guns feel good, the upgrade pass and all that. It's just non-stop fun start to finish. Like, it's stellar, it's blood pumping, it's action-packed. It's funny, too. I remember when this game was, like, revealed, Bethesda did so poorly in promoting it, I thought it was going to be, like, the worst thing ever. I remember back then, because, like, they announced, like, I forget what it was called, Snap Map? Snap Map. My joke was like, oh yeah, it's like a map creator thing of a sort. And Doom is like, here, our game's gonna... No, Bethesda was like, here, our game's gonna suck, you make a better game. Like, I remember one of the reveal trailers, just hyper-fixating on the gory aspects, and I was like, oh, so that's all there is to the game. They were shit at promoting this game, because apparently, when this game came out, people were like, no, actually, this game's really good. And I was like, oh. And then I finally played it, like, you know, yeah, no, this game's actually really good. This is, And the music. Yeah, I was going to talk about the music before I backtracked. I remember hearing the music first and being like, this just feels like noise. And I finally played the game and heard the music with the game. Speaking of Mick Gordon. This is Wolfenstein, not Doom. Yeah, when you're playing the game with that soundtrack, it makes sense. It certainly makes sense. Hey, Lily. The short version is, it's a good game with some tedium that holds it back, but otherwise really good. Okay, well, with Doom, yeah, the music makes a lot more sense when you're playing. It just supplements the demon slaying so well. I'll talk more about the music aspect when I get to Doom Eternal, but it's just an excellent game overall, and it's S tier. I'm sorry, Banjo, but I can kill demons in this game. Like, here's the thing: Banjo-Kazooie is a stellar game, but this is just so buttery smooth and fun. I played it like 3 times last year, so I think that says a lot. Voice placement. Let's continue to ride this. We'll call it the id Software train for a bit, because just look how far ahead we're going here. The original Doom we finally completed. I think for the most part it still holds up. The comment. Iconic for a reason. A little dated in some respects, cryptic and confusing in others, but largely still holds up with non-stop frenetic action, very rewarding to explore for secrets. I probably wouldn't have managed it without the quick save function, admittedly, which I'm pretty sure was always a thing in Doom, but, well, it helped. It worked. So, and I was playing this before they released the Doom 1 and 2 new version, and poking around with that new version is still pretty good. But the Unity port from before, apparently when it launched it sucked, but they eventually patched it to a point it was considered one of the better versions. Yeah, it was a good experience. Again, there's some aspects that are dated, but it's such a fun game. I think once you get to the 4th episode, though, is when things fall apart a bit. And it can, yeah, like I said, it can be cryptic in some progression senses and fucking pain in the ass in others, but overall, solid game. Like, I do think it holds up for the most part, and Thy Flesh Consumed is a lot of bullshit. It is an annoying chapter, but with save states and difficulty options, it's easier to mitigate. And we're just taking the 3 main chapters they made before they made the 4th episode. It's a really solid experience, and I'm going to say it holds up well enough. I'm going to slot it right here in between these 2. Again, Celeste 64, my main thing is that, like, it fucks with my, like, I just don't understand, it fucks with my depth perception. It's weird. But Doom is a fun game I would replay. Now to the granddaddy of first-person shooters, the true granddaddy of first-person shooters, Wolfenstein 3D. This is before they invented non-square shapes and verticality. Wolfenstein 3D... Woof. Yeah, it's the granddaddy of first-person shooters, and it sure fucking feels like it. Like... It's very repetitive. Right, the comment. Well, what I just said, the granddaddy of FPS games, and it sure feels like it. Impressive for its time, immediately outclassed by Doom the next year. Gets repetitive fast, but still overall was worth the play. So like I said, it was worth the play for the nostalgic sense. Liked it back in the 286. Yeah, back then when it first came out, it was cool. I remember seeing Slash playing the SNES version. It was cool. And nowadays, not so much, but... And the whole setup, too, of, like... God, that part feels, it feels slightly uncomfortable nowadays, admittedly. Just because of the way the world is, but... Back then, we can have the Nazis be just goofy, wacky, mech-piloting giant villains, and... They were still very plainly the villains, and very plainly the butt of the joke. But nowadays, it's like, you know, I'd rather they just all disappear, but as long as they're still portrayed as villains, which the new Wolfenstein games do that expertly, more on that soon. Wolfenstein 3D is definitely dated, repetitive. Here's something very simple about between Wolfenstein and Doom that made Doom so much more palatable. Oh, fuck yes. It's too quiet. Nah, it's not too quiet. Anyway, the weapon bob. When you're playing Wolfenstein, the weapon just stays planted in the middle of the screen, does not ever bob or move. It's just always there in the center. In Doom, it like sways here and there as you're walking, which does wonders for the immersion. And that one little thing made it difficult to go back to Wolfenstein 3D for a bit. I just did, but I almost felt sick. And for that reason, I think, and this is solely due to its age, Wolfenstein 3D drops down here into C tier. Worth a check for the historical factor, but for the gameplay factor, it just doesn't hold up anymore. So back to the better franchise, Doom 2. I don't like Doom 2. Let's see. Generally more the same great action as the original, albeit with wider enemy variety, which is appreciated. There's some cool set pieces and aesthetics, but it does get overwhelming in multiple ways pretty often, in both combat and exploration backtracking. I'm thinking about the city stage. Fuck that level. Fuck Archviles. The other new enemies are pretty cool, for the most part. Pain Elementals can also go fuck themselves, honestly. But, I like that it's Doom but more, but also that lends to a lot of frustrating design. A lot of fucking, yeah. Fucking the demons with bullets. Like, I don't want to be too harsh on Doom 2, but at the same time, so here's the thing. Since it is just Doom but more, that leads me to one simple aspect, and that is I would rather play the original Doom again, given the option. I think Doom 2's soundtrack is better. Maybe. I would have to think about that harder. On first thought, I would say Doom 2's soundtrack is better. But I'm also thinking about other really good songs in Doom 1, so I don't know. Let's put them even. They're both really good. So I'm going to, Doom 2 is not C tier. I think with the tools at your disposal, Doom's flaws are mitigatable. I think I would put it in B tier. I think it stays below Xenosaga, because Xenosaga has so many redeeming factors for me. And also, you know, the fact that Doom 1 exists, so... it puts that a lot higher for me. Next up, Doom Eternal. This is one of the few games I spent more words on in my Discord over the media threads, you know, Blue Sky character limits. So let's put it on deck. I have feelings about this game. Ultimately a well-made game, but it took Doom 2016's beauty and its simplicity and overcomplicated a bit much for my liking. There's better enemy variety, but many of the enemies now have specific weak points you basically need to deal with to prevent being overwhelmed, and they were determined to get you to use every last bit of your arsenal rather than experiment and let you pick your favorites. And nerfing the shotgun ammo pool dramatically is criminal. The tone is fun, irreverent and self-referential in the best way with tons of fun Easter eggs. I wasn't feeling the lore until about midway through, and then it hit a point where I loved it. Only to wrap back around to a point that it felt like it was unnecessary for the Doom universe. The DLC is a big mixed bag, with cool environments and platforming, but frustrating encounters. Overall, I still enjoy my time with it. Hey, Mick Gordon. So back to the music. You're hearing this right now. Mick Gordon got fucking screwed with this game. And Bethesda is still playing the victim here. Bethesda and id. But no, fuck those two. Mick Gordon had receipts. Pay this man, get him back. He is a brilliant mind and perfect for this franchise. I'm sure Andrew Hochschild will do well on Doom the Dark Age. Ages? ages, I think. Either way. But we were all feeling it as soon as we heard the first trailer. Andrew Hulshult is good, but he is no Mick Gordon. Mick Gordon is a fucking musical mastermind, and they had the perfect man for the job, and they completely fucked him over. This is a lawnmower you're hearing, by the way. At least at some part in this song. Yeah, in the background, there's a lawnmower. He sampled a fucking lawnmower. He sampled a chainsaw. And harnessed that to produce the pure, raw anger that the Doomslayer represents. And they fucked him. I just can't... It makes me so fucking pissed off. But for what it's worth, he doesn't seem to regret his time working on the soundtracks, but it does sound like he wants nothing to do with it ever again. It and Bethesda, which you can't fucking blame him. So I wish him the best in his future endeavors. And fuck Bethesda. And it's because of this, and I'm so on the fence about playing the new Doom game, but also because the new Doom game looks more like Quake than Doom. And let's talk about Doom Eternal. There's a lot of environments in Doom Eternal that, on the one hand, are kind of unique and new to Doom, which is cool, but on the other, it's like, this is starting to feel not like Doom anymore, and the platforming I mentioned can be fun. Like, I don't hate it. Apparently a lot of people hate it. But for me, it was the whole, like I said, in Doom 2016, you can find weapon mods for your weapons and give them, like, alternate modes and stuff, which is cool. It's cool in the sense that it gives you a ton of options for you to pick and choose. But in Doom Eternal, it more or less... Rip and tear, bitch. It more or less requires you use every single one, because there's different enemies they introduce that have these weak points, and all these weak points have different weaknesses, and you've got to, like, keep cycling through them all to, properly use them, and keep yourself alive, basically. It just gets to be too much. I think it's brilliant, if you're into that kind of thing. I think it's brilliantly crafted, but for me, it's just too much. I just want to fucking kill things. And then you add the DLC. There's some really cool things, but it's also overwhelming with way too many, like, just pours massive amounts of enemies on you into different combat encounters, and it was just, I just wanted this shit to be over. I think Doom Eternal is ultimately a really good game, but it kind of missed the mark on what I loved about Doom 2016. Not the soundtrack, though. I think the soundtrack is actually better overall, but hey, Mick Gordon. And it does kind of... Doom 2016 had a cool cliffhanger ending that Doom Eternal does not follow up on in a satisfying way, in my opinion. It feels like the lore got swapped around, and I don't know. Eternal just has some things going on where I'm going to put it above Doom 2. Gameplay-wise, it's still more fun than Xenosaga 1, but the trade-off is that Xenosaga 1 doesn't screw me over with the lore. Doom 64. It's good. Pretty solid and atmospheric, though may have caused me motion sickness at default FOV. Not too difficult, although much of the backtracking got old at points. I prefer more melodic music in my Doom, but the atmosphere tracks did their job. Overall, solid entry. Yeah. I'm realizing I don't think I can add on to that, because I can remember a few specific parts of Doom 64, but not a whole lot of it. Some of the redesigned enemies look weird, but I dig the style, the art style overall. Yeah, I do prefer something I can hum along to. I say as I'm a big fan of the Mick Gordon soundtracks. For me, it's less humming along to, more going but it's true, lawnmowers do hum. Yeah, true. There you go. I think Doom 64 is better than Doom 2. I don't think I can good conscience say it's better than Doom Eternal. Setting of the day, Doom 64 is... That sounds harsh, I don't mean to be. It's not forgettable. But it's probably the most forgettable of the Doom lineage. But it also doesn't piss me off like Doom 2, so I think, yeah. I think I'll put it right here between Eternal and Doom 2. We can reassess later, as usual. But for now, that seems fine. How far along are we? 5... We are 10 games in. We are 25% done. And we're still not done with the id Software lineage. We got 7 more of those to go through. Ooh. Quake, the OG. Judging solely based off single player, I admittedly found it kind of redundant. But it was probably more impressive in 1996. Not much stuck out to me aesthetically or musically, though it's by no means a bad game. Maybe the multiplayer is better. I sure did play a lot of games. I was cracked this year. I don't know what happened. If ever was a more ironic song for, talking about Quake. The year of id? True. Hey, Mac. How's it going? That was my thing about... Quake is less interesting than the original Doom. It's more interesting than Wolfenstein, but it's less interesting than the original Doom. And I think that's somewhat unfair in the sense that it was one of the first big 3D first-person shooter games. It inspired Half-Life. But... yeah, like I said, it was just redundant. I feel like the enemy variety wasn't the greatest. I'm struggling to remember the gameplay of this. And I want to be clear before I make a final judgment. A lot of people have told me that Quake 2 is the real good one. So I think harshing on the first Quake isn't going to be, like, that controversial. I'm so sorry if it's your favorite game of all time. And again, I did play the multiplayer, so maybe the multiplayer is great. Who knows? But judging from the single player, I did not have the best time with Quake. I think I beat the main original chapters that were released and decided to just not care about any of the extra stuff. I do want to play the others eventually. Maybe dip my feet in the multiplayer, who knows? The original Quake... I'm looking at somewhere between low B and high C, and I feel like C is too low. I mean, to be fair, I don't like Doom 2 that much, and it's in B, so... yeah, why do I have Doom 2 in the same tier as a game I would actually go back to? We'll put it in low B for now. I think the flaw with Quake is that it's just too archaic for being one of the first 3 FPS games. That's to be expected. I talk about all the time about how Nintendo 64 didn't age well, so like, what do you want from me? Let's move on to Sigil. This one is also... this one feels a little bit cheaty. Because it's like the unofficial 5th episode of Doom, made by John Romero. It's just a Doom wad. I'm counting it. I don't care. Yeah, I do want to try to Quake multiplayer at some point, because like, I know it's iconic, and I know that on that side of things, it inspired Unreal Tournament, which I've also never played. And speaking of inspiring Half-Life, I need to go back and finish Half-Life sometime. The Sigil. It's a very good Doom mod. Level 4, I believe it was level 4. Let's read the thing. Yeah, I asked the question, is the 9-level wand, billed as the unofficial 5th episode of Doom, made by John Romero, considered cheating? Don't care. It was pretty fun. E5M4 was a little annoying, and I got tired of Barons of Hell. There were a lot of those. But overall, the design was neat, and Paddock soundtrack kicked ass. Dorm room death matches. Yeah, that would be fun. Since I don't have those memory attachments. Yeah, since I don't have those attachments, it's like... sadly, I don't have those. And the Sigil was good. I mean, it's John Romero, who's usually lauded as one of the better level designers in original Doom, I think. It feels silly to put it this high, but it's not really much to say. He has some cool mechanics. I did get tired of Barons of Hell. There were several of those, but I think overall it was a really good wad. I enjoyed it. I should play Sigil 2 one of these days, but I'm gonna put it up here, right next to the original Doom. This does feel cheaty, I don't care. Sigil was good, I liked it. I need to play Unreal Tournament 2 one day. Okay, 5 more games to go in the Doom lineage. We're going up to bat with the worst one. Right out the bat, I'm just gonna say that. Of all the games in the Doom franchise, this is certainly one of them. The horror aesthetics were solid, the PDAs add some nice flavor, and this iteration of Hell is the series' best. But you don't spend enough time there, and the rest gets samey and repetitive fast. Too many pistachios. Right, when the demons spawn, you hear a whisper. I don't know exactly what they're actually saying. And the common joke is that they're saying mustachios, or mustachios. I heard pistachios the first time, like, we're going with pistachios, that's my stream meme now. Yeah, no. To clear things up, we played the BFG edition, because I heard about the flashlight things in the original. Not dealing with that. But, it was just so boring. So repetitive. So slow. Like, there's a sprint button, but it wears out pretty quick. All the encounters are the same. So many instances you just go, push a button, and then go back through a room, and the room that was in it before now has demons in it. And the demons don't even look interesting. And yeah, when you get to Hell, Hell looks awesome. Like, the aesthetics in that are really cool. The encounters still aren't really the greatest, but it's at least something really cool to look at. And, then you're just out of it just like that. Same thing happens in the expansions. It's like, this is the... Doom is about Hell. Like, it's about Earth, or Mars. Yeah, it's mostly Mars. Being invaded by Hell, and then going to Hell to fight the demons. So why are you holding it back from us? The Earth locations, Mars. The Mars locations don't look cool. Like, what's going on here? And where's my music? Even Doom 64 had more music than this. Doom 3 is not a good game. It's just so boring. I can't even say it's a bad game. It's just so boring, which is why I'm dumping it down here in C tier. Yeah, no, like above Wolfenstein. Because there's things about Doom 3 that are more redeeming than Wolfenstein 3D to me, but they're not fun to play. I've not seen a Doom movie. One of these days, maybe. Wolfenstein: The New Order. This one shocked me. I was talking earlier about these, those wacky Nazis trope with them being like huge hulking guys or in their mech suits. And they're just portrayed as goofballs, but still ones you have to kill. New Order is like, hey, no, remember, the Nazis are actually fucking horrible, and we're gonna remind you of that every chance we fucking get. I was not expecting that. And it didn't turn me off of the game. In fact, I think it's a really good game. But, it was like, woof, my series about fighting Hitler in a mech suit has suddenly reminded me that no, they're atrocious people. Don't forget that. I don't forget that normally, but it's in the game world. My comment was, didn't often run the greatest, but overall a solid shooter that was way more heavy than I was anticipating, coming off of Wolfenstein 3D. It largely handles the subject matter well, and mostly was satisfying to play, some jank notwithstanding. Yet, it did not run very well on my PC for whatever reason. Whereas Doom 2016 ran beautifully. But yeah, no, it was a good game. Very good story. Very fun gameplay. It still has like its elements, like it has like mechanical enemies and different like stealth stuff. I can't remember anything that really, to clarify, in the gameplay sense, offended me. Trying to think about where I put this. I will say, as far as the soundtrack goes, that nothing really stood out to me. It was Mick Gordon, but nothing really stood out to me as much as anything in Doom. And I guess because he's playing it a little bit more straightforward this time in comparison. He's not sampling fucking chainsaws. So I'm going to put it here in A tier. Yeah, I think there is fine. I was thinking about maybe putting RZ higher, but I think New Order is fine there. Next, Mighty Doom. My comment: completed more means tired of dealing with its grindy nature, so I'm done. The gameplay loop is genuinely fun, it's why I held on so long, but the difficulty spikes that necessitated grinding eventually got to be too much for me. There are 12 levels, I finished 9. And I started over a month ago. I posted this in late April. I've had enough of grinding daily challenges just trying to progress. I like the base game, but not its predatory nature. I'm out. Yeah, mobile gaming. Again, like I said, it's actually genuinely fun to play. It's just they stonewall you so often, trying to get you to spend money or just keep grinding. I wouldn't even say Doom for kids. It's still pretty bloody. It's got the cutesy aesthetic, but there's so much, like... There's still a lot of gore in it. It's toned down from the main games. There's still a lot of gore. So here's the thing. This is where things get complicated, because, like, putting it in one spot... No, that's Wolfenstein for kids. Makes it sound like I'm saying something definitive. Again, the gameplay loop is fun. The gameplay loop alone would put it in B, but the frustrating nature of it... I think this game's dead now, by the way. It's like they killed the studio that made it. Thanks, Bethesda. And it probably wasn't popular enough to sustain anyway. It's not even Fortnite. It's like... There wasn't... I don't do mobile gaming, so I don't remember the comparison. There was a game people were calling it and comparing it to... I think it started with an A, but I'm not sure. The closest thing I was calling it was, like, linear stage-based Vampire Survivors, because you don't... You only control your movement, you don't control anything else. Well, you get your sub-weapon. You can press the button for sub-weapon. The gameplay loop alone would put it at least at B. But the rest of it would drag it down. I think I do have to take that into account. Putting it in C, I would still sooner call it a better game than Doom 3. But those practices made it, or what made me quit. Just had to say. I think this is fine here. I think it balances out the what I enjoyed versus the what I didn't. So I think it's fine there. Again, I don't find Doom 3 enjoyable at all. So we're almost out of the id bubble. Spear of Destiny. A step up from Wolfenstein 3D in terms of level design and soundtrack, but the last couple levels got to be a bit enemy gauntlet for my liking. And ultimately, it's still the game that came out before Doom. This was more fun than Wolfenstein 3D. For certain. But it's still Wolfenstein 3D ultimately. Again, yeah, the level design was better. Had a really good boss song. It's somewhere in this playlist. But it's more Wolfenstein 3D. This is an easy pick. We'll just put it there. I would sooner play this over Wolfenstein. But it's just old. And here we go at the end of this for now. Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. Somewhat more straightforward in tone than the New Order, though no less brutal, and yet zanier to a small degree. Short but satisfying nevertheless. So this is where they allow themselves a little bit of goofiness, because they, one of the sillier aspects of Wolfenstein 3D was the officers, when killed, would shout, "Mein Leben!" Which is apparently not even, like... They are German words, but they're not the correct ones to use in that instance. Or something like that. Or it just sounds silly to German speakers. You kill one of the major antagonists in this, and as he's dying, he says, "Oh, my Leben," and it's like, okay, so they remember that there's room for goofiness here and there. I mean, it was there in New Order too, just a lot less pronounced. This is a prequel to New Order, by the way, so where things got really bad. And it was fun. It was shorter. I think because it is just New Order but shorter, I think I'm going to put it as a high B. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, high B sounds good. Because, like, there's a better alternative already, but it's worth playing. Is basically what I'm getting at here. We've finally freed ourselves of id Software. Now let's move on to another Crab's Treasure. Colorful, cute, charming, witty, great commentary. A little janky at points, but overall, excellent experience. Fun gameplay, wonderful music, absolutely wonderful game. Now can we save our goddamn planet? Yeah, no, this game had a very, 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 very ever-present environmental message. And it masks itself as a cutesy-ish Souls-like where you play as a hermit crab. And you know, the story itself does take its own darker turns. It's not all fun and games just because it's more colorful than Dark Souls. And, well, this was my gateway drug. We're about to see some more FromSoft stuff in this list, but I saw someone play this game, I'm like, what is this game? And as soon as I found out, you're a hermit crab, and your shell is your shield, I'm like, it's Dark Souls, but crab. I'm in. And it was definitely what taught me how to truly play a Souls-like game. I fucking loved this game so much. It's what truly got me to... It primed me for playing the FromSoft games, finally. And, one of Obi's top games. With good reason. It's also a Souls-like that has accessibility options, which... Come on, FromSoft. Like... Yeah, maybe I don't need them, but maybe people want to play your games, like, need the help. Like, come on. It's modern day. Think of your player base. Don't give me that good shit. I am good, and I'm saying add some more shit for other players. Anyway. I will say that those things ultimately won't hurt my ratings of the FromSoft games when I get to them, but... And it's just so fun. It's so funny. It's well written. Like, I love exploring this. I love playing this. It's like it's got some platforming mechanics to it too. And this was one of the best games I played this year. It's also the first game on this list that actually came out this year. And it's going right here into S. The thing is, Banjo-Kazooie is an S-tier game. It might end up being the bottom of the S-tier. That's mostly because, well, it's a 64 game, so some things have aged. But it's also because some of these other games are just that good, in my eyes. But, yeah, another Crab's Treasure. Fantastic game, highly recommended. I think it's still part of the Steam sale for 20 bucks. It's on sale, but its normal sale price is 30, so that's more than worth it. Yeah, I would say check it out. I need to go check out Aggro Crab's other stuff now. It's very good. I was so happy to play it, and it set me on a path. And I'm thankful for that, but this still stands near the top. I think I need to talk about that before we move on. You will get me hooked with a good aesthetic, and as it turns out, I do really enjoy the Souls-like gameplay loop, but good aesthetic will go a long way. And Another Crab's Treasure has that in spades. Speaking of Souls-likes, kind of. This is Nightmare Card. Nightmare Card being right here. Anyway, Little Kitty Big City, another game I played that came out this year. A fun and cute, relaxing game, very adorable and wholesome, and a good use of a couple hours. There's not much to say about this. That's basically all there is to say about it. You play as the cat going around the city, meeting little animals and helping solve their problems, and doing cat-like things. Like pouncing on birds, but you don't hurt them, you just take their feathers. One feather, just one feather. That's it. You can make people drop their phones or their bread. It's a cute game. And again, yeah, it only takes a couple hours to beat and complete. It's very much worth the time. I think I'm gonna slide it here. Also, there's a meow button. Never mind, it's Game of the Year. Nope, down here. That was quick. Moving on. This one that people talk about a lot. An intriguing, compelling, and emotional journey. I'll leave it at that. I can't talk much about Outer Wilds without giving too much away, so I will not talk much about Outer Wilds. It is a game where the progression is knowledge. Like, it's not like other adventure games where you could be spoiled on the plot, but still have to progress through the gameplay normally. No, once you know what happens in this game, that's it. You beat the game with knowledge. You don't beat the game with tools and mechanics that you find in the game. It's very brilliant for that. And I'm going to, again, just like not say a lot. Because discovery is how you play the game. And it's a very good game. Very good experience is more what I would call it. As a game you cannot play a second time. And you could, but it just wouldn't hit the same. Because, like, you already know what to do. Going under. That was the other Echo Crag game, right? Yeah, I do want to check that out eventually. Yeah, Outer Wilds is a game I would recommend. It is Wolfenstein 3. It's not at the top of my S tier, but it is going to go into S tier. I think I lied about Venture being the bottom. It's hard to say, because the journey is the reward. Well, journey and the destination, they're both the reward. There's like gameplay elements that bother me, I will say, but it's also not really the focus of the game. That's why I'm putting it here, below the others. Because admittedly, when I play a game, I'm here mostly to play the game. And in that sense, these play a lot better. But Outer Wilds has so much going for it that it is something I would recommend everyone experience. If you can. Like, it is a first-person game, so like if motion sickness is an issue, then it's gotta be an alternative some way, but either way. If you can handle it, it's worth trying out. And that's all I will say on that. Bloodborne. Yeah, it's understandable. Fantastic visuals and aesthetics. Getting back to the aesthetic thing. Some really cool creature designs. World design is generally top-notch. Most of the bosses well done, with a few that are more frustrating than they need be. Overall, an excellent game. So, as I was saying about Another Crab's Treasure and aesthetics going a long way, Bloodborne was the FromSoft game in my eyes. I tried Dark Souls a long time ago and bounced off it. But even then, thinking I didn't like the Souls games, I would look at people, I'd watch people play Bloodborne and I'd be like, this game seems cool though. It would just sit in the back of my mind forever. And once I finally played Another Crab's Treasure, I was like, you know what? I'm ready. It was on sale for $17.50 with the DLC, so I grabbed it. And thanks to my experience, I was able to get into it pretty well. You know, this game kicked ass. Like, holy shit, the aesthetic is so good and it's so cool. Like, I love almost everything about this game. Like, I will say it so far, it is my favorite FromSoft game. And I don't really see that changing. And I would really love it to see it being ported to something else that can handle it better. The one flaw of this game is long load times and poor performance on PS4. It looks phenomenal. I can play past the performance issues, but it is a little bit of a chunker when it comes to that, but again, I can look past all that for... It's just so cool. The world design is pretty well done. The story, once you unfold the story, it's really intriguing. There's a lot of really cool, like, environments, and the world looks awesome. You know, Elden Ring exists. I don't think they're losing money, but I get what you're saying. But I get what you're saying. They really do need to port this fucking game. It's not really FromSoft. I think it's probably Sony. Probably something to do with Sony, because Sony has the rights to Bloodborne, and... Well, they're a tangled mess, I think, but they own enough of the rights to Bloodborne and Demon's Souls, I believe. That's not really FromSoft. I think, because, yeah. The director of the game has stated that he would like to see it. He and the team... No. I don't think he said I don't think he directly said he wanted to, because he made some comment about, quote-unquote, getting in trouble, but he has said members of the team would like to see it ported. And the 10th anniversary is coming up. Please let them port it. I want to play this on PC. I want to play it on something that will run it better. But it's a phenomenal game. Like, it just... I keep saying it's a cool game. It is a cool game. Hey, Mikey. Well, stay tuned. I say it a lot. It's a cool game. That's the shortest thing I can say about it. I wonder if FromSoft could afford the rights, or if Sony would be like, no. It might also be more complicated than just Sony owning the rights. I don't know. I want to play this game again. I want to get the Platinum Trophy on the PS4 version eventually. That only requires one more run, because there's 3 different endings. I just need to get the 3rd ending and go back to the DLC and get all the items that I missed for another trophy, but... Whew. Yeah, there's a couple bosses I don't like. I have a separate tier list for that. There's I think there's only one area I really didn't like, and it was in the DLC. It was the 2nd DLC level. But for the most part, it's a fucking phenomenal game. And it may just be my game of the year. There's a contender. There is a contender. We'll get to that, but for now, I think Bloodborne actually is my favorite game that I played in 2024. Although we were striking out games that didn't come out this year, then yet another grabs treasure so far. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. The unique mechanics made for some clever and fun puzzles. A gorgeous but somber, melancholy journey. I would like to see developments in Bloodborne, but for now, Brothers. This was a fun little game. Didn't take very long. I feel like this is one I can't talk much about as well. Not to the extent of our Outer Wilds. There's still a lot of like gameplay elements. It's so interesting because the way you play it, you largely just use the control sticks and the shoulder buttons. Like this to stick control one brother, and this was the one brother's action button, and vice versa. It took a bit to get used to, but it was fun in its own way. This was the Joseph Fares game, you know, the guy that made A Way Out and It Takes Two. This is before they made it 2 players instead of 1 player doing 2 characters. There was some very fun puzzles in this. I enjoyed it. It's a good experience. It's relatively inexpensive, I believe. I would say it's worth playing. But yeah, be prepared. Emotionally be prepared. Same for Outer Wilds. I need to look into the new game, I still haven't yet, but anyway, there is a remastered version. I feel like I hear that you should just stick to the original. But I'm not sure on that front. I can't say for sure. I played the original because I bought the original a long time ago. I believe this was also in the same playlist as Doom with the, play these games now, damn it. I'm going to put it... Put it here. Maybe here. I'll put it here. Low in the vein. It is very good. It didn't fully appeal to me and all of the things I like in games, but it was still really good. Bloodborne cart. I mean, Nightmare cart. A thing that became a joke for so long, and then someone actually turned into a free-to-play game on Steam. I think it's a pay-what-you-want game on itch, which I have been meaning to go and just throw a couple bucks the creator's way because I like this game so much. It doesn't take very long, and it really is with Bloodborne told via kart racing with the serial numbers filed off. It's so fun. It's a legitimately fun game. Has some pretty solid like kart design or kart track design, and the gameplay's pretty enjoyable. The only thing I wish it had was online play. I haven't played it again since, but I'm pretty sure it also has like multiple endings. Yeah, it does have multiple endings, just like Bloodborne did. It's gonna be pretty high. I think I'm gonna put it here, above Little Kitty Big City. It's short enough that there's plenty of replay value. Again, the tracks are fun. I think not having a accessible multiplayer is the only thing kind of hurts it. But I really like this game. This was fun. Oh, it is free, but it doesn't have the multiplayer. Ori and the Blind Forest, a good song for this game. Let's just backtrack. I didn't read my comment for Nightmare Cart. Get out of here real quick. A very short but legitimately really good time. Genuinely fun course design and battle stages. Very funny, especially if you played Bloodborne. And honestly, the mechanics are solid for a free fan game. More than worth the pay. Play. Ori and the Blind Forest. A beautiful game with fluid animations, fun and challenging platforming, and a unique checkpoint system. Overall pleasant experience, charming and emotional. So when I started off with this game, the first little bit of the game, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't really see what makes it stand apart from other like platform Metroidvanias. This is okay, but once you got the I guess the first major ability, I was like, oh, I see now. It really fell into place. It is a pretty game. I admit I wasn't really that big a fan of the Ginsu Tree, I think, was the spot. The spots where, like, we would walk into a new area and then you would hear, like, the slow narration from the, was it the deep voice tree or whatever? I was like, okay, I just want to get a move on, stop slowing me down. But I guess I wasn't that interested in the story aspects of Ori. Like, they're okay, but that part did feel a little bit kind of standard in my eyes, but the gameplay was fun. It was still a game I'm glad I played. And it did make me want to play the sequel eventually. I'll get to it. I think right here is good. Demon Souls. A game I wasn't sure I was going to play, but here we go. We're talking the original Demon Souls, by the way. Interesting to see where the roots of the Souls-like genre began, but expectedly rough around the edges. There's some legitimately awesome locations, and a couple that are very not good. Ultimately, the good outweighed the bad, but it's a hard recommend. I think I meant difficult recommend, because if you say I hard recommend it, doesn't that mean you really recommend it? Anyway. Yeah, there's a bit more Bloodborne DNA than I expected to see in here, because I was expecting Demon Souls to be more similar to Dark Souls, but recommending hard or hardly recommending. I haven't played the remake, and I won't unless it comes off a PS5, because I'm not buying a PS5. Like, ever. There's nothing on PS5 I want to play besides Spider-Man 2, and that's probably coming to PC eventually. I'm not buying a PS5 for one game. I kind of want to play Astrobot, but I don't PS5 want to play Astrobot. But yeah, it is rougher than what comes later. The first world is like your typical standard castle area world, and it's like, now that I played Dark Souls, it's like the Undead Burg, but not as interesting. Shall do one better, it's the Painted World, but not as interesting. The bosses in this game, compared to later games, are mostly a lot of jokes. Like, very few bosses stood out to me in this. There's some that were like cool ideas, but still like really easy. And I do have to consider the fact that this was the first game of its kind. If I started with this game, I don't know how I would feel. But going back to playing the other games, it's generally a lot easier in some ways, but in other ways, not so much. The level design is mostly inferior. The second world was a horrible, like, mine area with like a lava area underneath. The third world was fantastic. I didn't like the first part of that. It's like a confusing prison segment. But once you get out of there to the more Gothic horror-esque architecture outside, it was really cool. And the fourth world was also really amazing. But then the final world is a poison swamp. It sucks. That's the neat thing about this game is you can do it out of order because you're in a hub world, which is where the Bloodborne DNA comes from. You just go to like different places to choose where to go. I saved the poison swamp for the very last because I saw it was a poison swamp. I was like, no. And thankfully, I was able to smoke the entire trip the first try because I was like, by that point, very powerful. I cannot imagine how I would feel about it if I was weaker. The thing is, I still kind of enjoyed it overall. Like, it has its rough spots, and I don't know if I would go back to it anytime soon. Maybe with the remake. If I had access to the remake, I would try it. And it's definitely the lesser FromSoft game so far. I'm going to... Here, I think we can break up the Doom train a little bit. I'm gonna put it right there. I think I would sooner play these again over it. But I think I would still rather play it over Doom 2 or Quake. And the more I look at it, the more I think, it's just my tier list, Quake is going down in the sea. The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This is a game I had my eye on for a little bit. I actually bought it during LlamaCon, and it's like I had so many gold coins, it was on sale, I got it for like $3 basically. I played it during my downtime. Short little game, cute little game. Let's go to, oh. LlamaCon, here's a bunch of albums from the trip. A charming and lovely little game. The intro is lengthy, but it is essentially a playable fairy tale. None too brain-taxing, save for one fatefully optional puzzle. But otherwise, a cute experience. Yeah, there is a puzzle that is like... It is literally so complex that you have two options. You solve it, or you can choose not to solve it and move on. The game has mercy on you for that. But it is a very cute game. I love the aesthetic so much. It's got its own little hint of emotion. It's got like narration. Another raid! Yo, Mark. Thank you for the raid. Good to see you. Hope you're streaming well. I've only been avoiding your Animal Well streams because I want to play that someday, but hope it's been fun. You've caught me in the middle of my big Game of the Year tier list. Good choice, yeah. That's what I figured. H Mike. I'm in the middle of talking about this little Fairy Tail game that apparently isn't on PC. I didn't think about that. It's a cute game. Oh yeah, Luna Nights will have its time. It's a cute game that I would recommend if you have access to it. Again, yeah, it has a very long intro, but it is essentially a playable fairy tale. I had a lot of fun with it. It was short, but cute. I think because of its shortness, because it can drag on with plot at some points, even though it is a plot-based game. I will say that now. Go into it expecting it to be a plot-based game. That'll help, maybe help the lengthier cutscenes go down better, but I think it's part of the game's identity. I think I am going to... I think I'll put it at the top of B tier. No. I think I'm going to put it in A tier, Bug Brothers. I think Brothers is probably a better game, but I think I had more fun with this. Lengthy story and all. Let's see. What's next? Oh, here we go. Let's put these up here together. Because I think you can't have one without the other. I think I did the same thing when I did the Tears of the Kingdom tier list. Let's scroll down this list. Here we go. So, my asterisk is, I played these on the remastered version. I didn't play the original CDI versions of these. So let's see. For Faces of Evil, I said, enemy spawns can be obnoxious, as well as the somewhat grindy fireball snowball system. Backgrounds are great, but can unintentionally be unclear where you're meant to go. The tunes are honestly kinda bumping. Iconic cutscenes, not the worst things ever. And for Wanda Gamelon, similar to the above, minus grindy projectiles. The remasters by Dopply really do a lot to alleviate tedium, as I would probably be more frustrated with these otherwise, but as they're presented here, they're alright. Not great, but alright. That is the thing with these games. I think when they came out, 1993 I believe, that's the cartoon, Mikey, not the CDI games. Yeah, and when they came out, people talk about them like they're the worst things ever. There are worse games now, and there were worse games in 1993. It's because they had the Zelda series attached to them. People were like, "Oh, they're so bad. They're not good, but they're not like the worst things ever." Now, the remaster version adds quality of life. Oh, here's RZ music, so kind of relevant. You move faster. The jumps might be better, I'm not sure on that one. You can walk into items to collect them instead of stab them. At this point, yeah, the cutscenes are just iconic. Like, they're an identity at this point. I think they were memed so much now people love them. There are some confusing elements. The bosses are a disappointment. I think because of the lack of the projectile grinding, I would put Zelda Wanda Gamelon above Link's Faces of Evil, but they're still very closely entwined. They played on G14. That's phenomenal. They're games I'm not sure I would revisit. They're not games I've regretted playing. So I think I would put them at the top of C tier. I would one day maybe want to try the original CDI versions to see if that really affects my opinion, but as they're presented in the remaster versions by Dopply, I think they're worth trying. Not worth returning to, I would say, but they're worth trying. Yeah, no, I think this works, because Quake was just boring to me, but Doom 2 is ultimately a better experience, I would say, so I think this fits. Alright, next game. My biggest surprise, and biggest joy of 2024, Haunted Castle Revisited. Takes a below-average game, touches up the presentation, gives it banger remixes, adds some clever touches. Not quite top caliber Castlevania. A very solid game nevertheless that they buried in a DS game collection of all things. I'm just so happy to have it. Yeah, that's the ultimate thing about this is they released a new Castlevania game in 2024. And they hid it in a collection of DS games. All of which are better games, I will admit, but way to bury the lead on that. Like, it's still a really short game. It's like half an hour long. The original Haunted Castle was not good, but they took that and they made it good. It's like, I think it actually is the same devs as that made Castlevania The Adventure Rebirth, except this time they remixed the soundtrack from Haunted Castle instead of remixing songs from other games, which, what the fuck was that about? And there were some like clever little moments and touches, like when you kill the stone snakes and they turn into staircases to go upwards. The boss fights were largely better. Like I've still only played this game once. And admittedly, it was only 2 months ago, so it wasn't that far away. No, 3 months ago. I played in September. But I still distinctly remember the mechanics of the Frankenstein's monster fight. What the final boss looked like. Yeah, the Dracula heads. It's weird, but it's creative, and they did a very good job with Haunted Castle. And, again, like I said, it's not top caliber Castlevania, but it's good. It has, like, a lot of quality of life stuff. Like, falling into pits is an instant death. It just takes some of your health away, and you can tweak it. You tweak it for further difficulty options. Like, I think there's jump controls. I think there's... I think you can make pits kill you. I think you can put lives on, or at least change the number of lives. So it's a very modernized Classicvania, and God, I'm just so happy it exists. Like, they've given me something, and I expect to not get anything again ever, or at least not for another 16 years. But it exists. It makes my soul happy, and I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's here. And I'm going to put this at the top of B, because again, it's not... You know, let me go consult my my old Castlevania tier list. Here's a... Thank you. Castlevania tier maker. Is the tier here? No, I think it's out here somewhere. Here we go, Bloody Tears. Let's see. My B tier has Order of Ecclesia, Dawn of Sorrow, Adventure Rebirth, Belmont's Revenge, and Harmony of Dissonance. So yeah, that's good company. Although I think nowadays I would bump Order of Ecclesia up to A. So... Top of B tier for Haunted Castle Revisited, I think fits. Higher than Wolfenstein Dual Blood. Some people might think I'm ridiculous. I'm a Castlemaniac. Castlevania is going to take the top of this tier. Fuck you. And a good fucking timing for this music. Because the next game on the list is... Echoes of Wisdom. If you watched the Tears of the Kingdom video, you already know where I'm going to put this. My comment, other than the Echo selection being somewhat clumsy, I have very few complaints about this. Very fun, solidly designed, very cute. Congratulations on Zelda actually being playable. Just an overall joyful experience. Our first D tier, how fucking dare you? Yeah, no, Echoes of Wisdom had a small bit of a whirlwind with this game, because when he announced it, I was like, holy shit, they're using Link's Awakening engine to make a new game. Just like the Oracles. And then I found out Grezzo was developing it, not Nintendo. Just like the Oracles. I mean, it wasn't Grezzo then, but it's a different developer, is what I'm trying to say. But then it came out, and like, no. They didn't drop the ball. Oh, they dropped the ball on the Echo selection menu, but otherwise they didn't drop the ball. Like, to get that out of the way, that's my only complaint with the game, is the Echo selection menu sucks. It should have given us 2 buttons to use Echoes. It should have given us some kind of, like, favorites wheel we can assign stuff to. You can sort through different options, like most used, last used, etc. But it's a little bit annoying, and that's my only complaint. It's got really fun level design, world design. I love how it combines, like, the open nature with a linear plot structure still. It's the best of both worlds, and I think that's perfect for Zelda. I think we should do more of that going forward with Zelda. I'm okay with open world games, though. I'll play them. But I love Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I don't need them to be every kind of game, but I love them. It's the cutest Zelda game ever made. I will say that up front. It's really adorable. Now, the music... I remember at first the music didn't really hit, but it grew on me. Music's good. It's very clever, it's very fun. It's a little bit wordy in the plot, sure, but it's still a really good game. I put it in A tier in Tears of the Kingdom. It's going to top the A tier this year, too. It doesn't quite reach the highs up here, but it's still a very good game, one of the best Zelda games. By far. Hey, we're dipping into the Castlemania selection. Oh, Dallas, The Dark Call. Generally a pretty solid game. Can't get rough at points and confusing or annoying to navigate, and has one very frustrating stage, but otherwise it's a decent time with some gorgeous pixel art. The minecart stage fucking blows. Oh, it's a pretty fun game. Some of the backtracking stuff was a little bit annoying, but like, you know, harkening back to days of that era. I'm going to put it... You know, I will say, it was a good game, but it was maybe one of the least interesting of Castlemania this year. I'll put it down here, I think, between Demon's Souls and Doom 2. Touhou Luna Nights. Great music, fantastic pixel art and animations. Overall, really fun game with the graze mechanic. Some late and post-game areas can be obnoxious, as well as bosses, but definitely worth playing. This game kicked ass. I didn't end up beating like the final post-game boss on stream because on stage? Yeah, I'm on stage playing games. Because the fact that it makes you redo phases, and the phases individually are already annoying. That was a pain. It was true with the final boss too. At least there, like, the first phase was really easy. It's just, you know, it gets tedious redoing that first phase. But, rest of the gameplay killed. How close are we to this list? I'm going to skip the Mighty Doom song. Here's some CDI for you. Where was I? Here. Yeah. This is going to go somewhere in A tier. It's a game I would play again for sure. Maybe try to perfect it and kill the final boss. High A. Yeah, no, I'll put it above Doom. I kind of remind myself, I really like Doom 1, but it is a dated game. So anything that's like really good but not S tier good should be going above Doom, I would say. So I think this works. I like Urzet more. I think Touhou Luna Nights has fewer flaws, but I like Urzet more. 440? I'm very sorry, Mark. I think I went over my head. Oh, okay. Thank you, left, for the context. Continuing, Crypt Stalker. Let's see. A short but sweet take on the classic Mania formula, except the protagonist plays like she has places to fucking be, and I respect it. Not too terribly difficult, but quite fun, even as a charming, if not more properly frustrating, side mode. Yeah, this was a little hidden gem. When I was looking up games for Castlemania, I was like, I need another classic Mania to play, and Crypt Stalker showed up on the list in the thread. I looked it up, it was cheap, and it was good. I don't really remember much about the music, but I do remember some of the gameplay, and yeah. She does move fast, which is fun for this kind of style of gameplay. I love that it has the Game Boy style bonus mode, even if it was harder, but it's still better than Castlevania: The Adventure. Like, I'm glad I picked this up. And I wish it was a bit more popular, even if... I wouldn't say it was one of the best games ever, but it was still really fun. I think I'm gonna slot it like right next to Haunted Castle Revisited. Because, you know, I've still got bias for the Castlevania franchise proper, but it's a good game. I think it might actually be better. I have my biases though, but it's definitely worth the play. Oh, here we go. Momodora, Reverie Under the Moonlight. Let's see. A gorgeous, moody, and charming game. A brisk little game with solid combat, and overall great game feel. I've used game 3 times in a sentence, how dare I. Glad to have finally got around to this. Momodora is fantastic. I'm not sure if it's S-tier fantastic. It might be S-tier fantastic. I'll have to think about it. Like... everything about this game felt really good. And I think there might be more I could have played in it. It is a short game, but you know, some of my favorite games are really short. Well, actually, all of my S-tier games are at least 10 hours long. Oh, Banjo! Yeah, Banjo. Banjo's like 10 hours. Minimum. For a first playthrough. But some of my favorite games of all time are less than 10 hours, like Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Link to the Past. Well, Link to the Past first playthrough probably wouldn't be. Forget it. I think this might be an S-tier game. I haven't gone back to play it again, but it's just so well done in all aspects. Like the moodiness, the gameplay feel. I'm putting it in S-tier. I'll put it in low S. I should go back and play this. I was talking about wanting to go back and play this. I think that says a lot. So S-tier it is. Momodora was probably the cream of the crop of Castlevania Legacy. But speaking of fantastic Castlevania games we played this year, Infernax. Simon's Quest meets the Adventure of Link in this rather incredible throwback game. It's very fun, has great art, fantastic music, and over-the-top violence and gore. And so much content. Very surprised by and pleased with this. This ended up being the longest game in the marathon. I was stunned. This game's sense of humor is on point. It's a love letter to those classic 8-bit games. The music's great. It's got all those little, like, choices and, like, makes it replayable. It's funny how I decided not to try to do the true final boss on stream, and then I just smoked it first try the next time. Oops, but yeah. This is definitely one of the best games I played this year. I'm not sure if it misses S tier, it's only by a little bit, but I'm still thinking about that. You know what? No, I think it's an S tier game. I think it deserves its spot down here in the S tier. Like, it just does what it does so well. It has all those goofy little hidden endings and such. No, Infernax is a really fucking good game. It's a game I would play again, and I think I want to play again at some point. It's so weird to me not having a Zelda game in the S tier. And it makes you kind of reconsider that, but the only reason it's not down here is because the context of Tears of the Kingdom is what put it there. Because I love this game, but it's not on the same level as the S tier games for S tier Zelda games. But make no mistake, Echo's Wisdom is a really good game. You know, Infernax is fantastic. I would definitely recommend it. Next game. This was a big deal to me. Shadow Generations. I would like the first before I read my sentence or post about it. When this was revealed, when they announced, we've heard enough Banjo music. I'm gonna move on and see what's next. Let's get that. Skip that. Now we'll skip that too. Kind of Doom music. Skip it. You already heard Demon Souls. The song's not that long, fuck it, we'll play it. Anyway, when Sonic X Shadow Generations was announced, I was like, oh, please don't be a disaster like Sonic Colors Ultimate was. Then they announced the Shadow mode, and I was like, I was thinking of Sonic Forces, because Sonic Forces had the episode Shadow, which is like 3 short levels, and did it even have a boss fight? I don't remember. You could beat it in 20 minutes. Sonic Forces wasn't good. The Sonic Frontiers' cyberspace levels not also being good, because mostly they're recycled. I was worried that the Shadow Generations part of this package was going to suck. I had no faith in Sonic Team in the modern day. And I was thinking to myself, this is just gonna be not worth it. Why would we want to play this? Now let's read my comment. Not too long, but oh so satisfying. Hub World is a massive improvement over Sonic's, as in Sonic Generations. Level design is fantastic, and so are the bosses. Shadow feels great to control. Even the story is an improvement, enough to make a long-time fan shed a tear. So yeah, Shadow Generations ended up being really fucking good. They actually got back people who worked on Sonic Generations, which before this point was probably the best 3D Sonic game, legitimately. And they made something really good. It's shorter than Sonic Generations, but they just designed it so well. The hub world is like, the 3D hub world is like the best 3D hub world we've had in a Sonic game. Better than anything in Frontiers. Better than the 2D hub world in Sonic Generations. It's not perfect. There are some parts that are a little bit annoying to navigate. Plus, when you're looking for all the trinkets in the end, it can be tedious. But the stage design is top notch. Shadow in this game is the best, I guess, any of the hedgehogs I've ever controlled in 3D. He has his own little unique moves as well, so he's not just a copy-paste of Sonic. Mostly, but not always. Not entirely. Perfect fucking timing on the music. The story is pretty good. Like, it could be a little bit longer. It's still somewhat basic overall, but it's good. Ian Flynn is killing it. As I said, I'd have to make a long-time fan shed a tear. I did. I was a little bit more invested in Sonic and its lore than I would be healthy. It should be healthy. But in the end, this game made me feel validated, in a sense. And also, this is a really fucking good game. It might also have the best bosses in a 3D Sonic game ever. A best final boss for sure. For the most part, 3D Sonic final bosses all suck. They're either boring, simple, or just bad. No, this one's really, really good. This one's a really fucking good final boss. And yeah, maybe a shorter game, but like quality over quantity, you know? What's interesting too is how, you know, this style of boost gameplay that they started with Sonic Unleashed has always mixed 3D and then 2D segments. This switched it up. Act 1s are fully 3D, and Act 2s are fully 2D, and both designs are really solid. This is why I'm like, you know, they need to just let the Sonic team, especially the Generations team, since apparently they still exist, let them fucking cook. Don't rush them to make games. Let them make something really fantastic, because that's what we really need. It's just so good, and like they still got it, and they're better at it now. Like Sonic Generations was good. This is better. This is the best 3D Sonic game. From the gameplay perspective, and the plot is taken seriously enough while also still having its over-the-top elements. This game, to touch on the music, this game redeems Sonic Forces of all fucking things. Like I was talking earlier about how much I appreciate RZ for taking elements of the CDI games and making them good. Sonic Forces is a game that has nothing going for it. This game took a level from Sonic Forces and made it really fun, one of the best stages in the game. And like, weird things like that can make me emotional for no reason, but it's just how I feel. Like, Shadow Generations might be my actual game of the year. And I have to admit here, this was made for a very specific kind of person. The person is me. So, pure gameplay-wise, I still think Bloodborne would probably win out. Maybe even Doom. But Shadow Generations is so many things right, especially for me, specifically, that I think Shadow Generations might be my actual game of the year. It's still fairly recent, so there might still be some recency bias going on, but I'm a Shadow the Hedgehog fan, and this game did a lot right for me. So you know what a good Sonic game makes you want to do? Play bad ones. I streamed Sonic Colors. It's not bad, it's kind of mid. I played Sonic 06 again for some fuck-ass reason. I just played Sonic Adventure 1 again, which I'm sorry, but I don't like that game. And the game I never did beat before. Sonic Lost World. I played this on Wii U, and I think I got about halfway through before falling off, because it was just... It was okay. It was kind of boring. So I finally went back to beat it. To read the comment that I posted. It's colorful and pretty, and the music is great, but yeah, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. I hate the run button. It's out of place and makes my finger hurt. I have to hold on this RT button for so long. This RT button is not comfortable. The momentum can feel screwy sometimes. The villains are super one-dimensional. Game just kind of exists. And that's true. It's a gorgeous game. With fantastic music. But very basic kind of gameplay. You got all the typical tropes. All the bosses exist. And yeah, to get any kind of momentum, it's a run button in Sonic games. Yeah, I know. We've got the boost formula games. And as of Sonic Frontiers and Shadow Generations, unless you change the option, which I did, the boost is on the RT. But here's the thing. Sonic still moves fast without the boost. And there's plenty of moments you have to let go of the boost to platform better. Or just during certain, like, sequences where you shouldn't be boosting at all. But in Lost World, you kind of have to hold the run button to go any semblance of speed, and it's just murder on my finger. Here's the thing, it's not an offensive game at all. For the most part. There's some spots that are like really dumb and stupid, but there's not much else to really say. I think it's somewhere in the high C range. Like the drink? But, yeah, I think I'd slide it right here. I think I would still sooner play these. Again, over Sonic Lost World. One, they're shorter. Well, no, Sonic Lost World is also really short. Like, not nearly as short, but... Hectocooler? Here's a game we streamed. Banjo-Tooie. Scroll down the list. Definitely has plenty of moments and witty writing. But the ridiculous amount of backtracking makes it feel like a chore much of the time. The less we say of Humbawumba, the better. Hellfire Peaks is based, though. So yeah, Banjo-Tooie is Banjo-Kazooie, but not as good. It's a short version of that. Banjo-Kazooie is sitting pretty right here in S tier. Banjo-Tooie is not an S tier game. I don't necessarily even think the size of the game is the problem. Because, there's plenty of warp paths to get you around faster. It's just the fact that they make you use them a lot because they need you to backtrack, because you gotta go switch to Mumbo, then go do a thing with Mumbo, then you gotta switch back to Banjo and Kazooie, then you gotta go transform into whatever Humpa's doing, and you gotta go use that in the thing, then you gotta go transform back into Banjo, and it's all very, very, very obnoxious. And it's the kind of thing that kills it. The other thing that kills it is the fact that you can't, like, fully clear a level upon first entry. And, like, yeah, if you think about it, that's not necessarily a new thing to platformers. Banjo-Kazooie isn't innocent of this either. Super Mario 64 isn't innocent of this. But the levels Banjo-Tooie goes to, sometimes you have to go learn something in the final world to go back to an earlier level to finish it. And it's not signposted very well. Like, at least in Mario 64, it tells you, like, wing Mario over the... No. Take to the sky... Whatever the star name in Bob on Battlefield is. This game is just, like, expects you to just figure out on your own, oh, I've got to come back later. It's obnoxious. It's not fun. But there are high points of the game. Again, Hailfire Peak is a really cool level. And a really hot level. But, it's also bleaker. It's more macabre. As a kid, I didn't like that. As an adult, I don't mind it as much. It's like it's a tonal change, and that's fun and all. But it can turn people off. Yeah, it's overall less joyful, and I think that is the thing that wins me points for Banjo-Kazooie. Not saying every game has to be joyful. Look, I've got Bloodborne over Nether Crab's Treasure. Need I say more? But I don't know, Banjo-Tooie just wasn't as fulfilling to me. And I think... it has enough redeeming factors to keep it from going way too low. I think it goes... Yeah, I think it sounds good. Right here in the lower mid B range. I would like to play the Game Boy Advance game one of these days. Maybe I'll stream it, who knows. Maybe if it shows up on NSO. Yeah, Banjo is a B tier game. There were moments where it felt like a C tier game, but I think it rose up to a B tier game eventually. And we're getting down to the wire here. To the final FromSoft game of the year, Dark Souls. Let's see. Excels in atmosphere with, generally, solid world design. I didn't even mind early game backtracking. Some late game areas aren't as enjoyable for one specific mid game area, but still a fantastic game. In other words, I did it. Dark Souls is a game I bought when researching this topic, because there's a forum I used to post this stuff on all the time. I bought it the same day as Splatoon. Clearly the same kind of game. I tried it a bit, and I wasn't feeling it, and I bounced off it. Then like a year or two later, I tried it again, and this time I was gonna be like, okay, this is the one. Bounced off it again. 360 version, I should say. You know, after playing Nether Crab's Treasure, after playing Bloodborne, after playing Demon's Souls, I was like, you know, I think I'm ready. I have some unfinished business to do. Thank you, Urs, for getting me this game on sale, by the way. AT-Base. You're just in time for the second to last game, I'm afraid. So here's the thing. I was playing this and I was enjoying it for the most part, but I was starting to, like, fade off it, not because I wasn't into it. I think I was starting to feel a little bit of FromSoft fatigue, admittedly. But I kept chipping away at it, making sure I did at least a little bit, at least like once a week. And eventually I fell back into a groove and got going. I think one thing has become clear to me between playing this and Demon's Souls and Bloodborne and Nether Crab's Treasure. I think the medieval fantasy style Souls-like games are my least favorite for aesthetical purposes. Like I said, Bloodborne's fucking cool with the Victorian horror? Victorian Gothic horror. Nether Crab's Treasure with the fun, colorful underwater style. Dark Souls and Demon's Souls like, oh, it's medieval fantasy. Again, dark fantasy, whatever. And this is ironic, because if I ever get off my fucking ass, the story I'm trying to write is medieval fantasy flavored. I like medieval fantasy, but I think I may have hit some kind of a ceiling with medieval fantasy. I don't know. Souls-like Armored Core. Now that is all to say, Dark Souls, a really good game. The style of Bloodborne, not just aesthetically but gameplay-wise as well, is still my favorite. And like, yeah, the game does have a thing where there's no fast travel until like halfway through. But as a testament to how good the world is designed, it never really feels like you need it. It is nice to have the warp, don't get me wrong. Because at a point, it does start get to that point where like, okay, I need a fast travel now. But reaching that point, it takes a bit. And it gets actually right at the point where it feels like you want fast travel. You get the fast travel. So this is it was a good game, and it does leave me with like the bug, because like that style of gameplay is admittedly really addicting once you get into it. And that's why I'm currently playing Dark Souls 2. But that's not on this list. Yeah, there's a couple areas that do suck. On the whole, like, might be a hot take, I think Bloodborne world design is way better overall. Like, there's not as many places in Bloodborne I hate to play as there are in Dark Souls, which still is a small number, mind you. There's some bosses that are annoying. I did a separate tier list of that. I guess that's going to happen in any FromSoft game, is that the bosses are going to be annoying. Or rather, there are some bosses that are going to be really annoying. This is a high A tier for me. I think it barely falls out of S tier because, again, it's a really fun game. I gotta remember, A tier games are still really good. All these A tier games are games I would play again. Maybe not Brothers for the story aspect, but ignore that. But S for Shadow. What part of A tier? Would I put it above RZ? I think I would put it above RZ and Wolfenstein. Would I put it above Echoes of Wisdom? You gotta remember, I am a very biased Zelda fan. This song is really quiet. Let's skip it. We'll keep the Zelda music on. Anyway. Like, for sure, right here. But between these two, what do? I will put it at top of A tier. I will say, Echoes of Wisdom was a replayable game for me. I enjoyed playing it twice this year. The second playthrough, I did find some new stuff to do. Or new ways to tackle things I didn't do in my initial playthrough. I think Dark Souls does have more replayability, though. FromSoft games in general. I think it's the main thing. Now, you know what? I'm not rating this on playability. Replayability. Echoes of Wisdom is the top of the tier. Sorry, I've got to go with my biases. Or am I really the satellite if I don't? You know, Echoes of Wisdom is great. It may not be top tier for me, but it's great. This is my tier list. Everyone else can fuck off. And the final game of the year was one I heard about through Guess the Game, actually. Everybody else got it in like one. And they were like, oh, this was so easy. And I'm like, I've never fucking heard of this game. Oh no, I've heard of this game. I've never seen this game. And ironically, or coincidentally, it was on sale for like $2 on that day. And this wasn't during this winter sale either. So I bought it. And I played it. What was my note? Let's read my note. A short and clever puzzle platformer with some fun narration. Anyway, y'all ever want to be emotionally invested in rectangles? Now, it's not like a sad or sappy game or anything like that, but it's like... Your characters are just rectangles that have different abilities. And the narrator gives them names, and they give them a story that you actually remember the name of each rectangle as you go along, which is interesting. Hate the music, but the game is great. I like the music well enough. The fun thing for me was I thought I recognized the narrator's voice. I did. Danny Wallace, I think the name is? He played Sean in the Assassin's Creed Ezio games, so I was like, oh, I love this even more now. But, yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. It's a short puzzle platformer. You can do it in a single sitting, but it was fun. A lot of creative things. There's like one little aspect I thought was kind of jank, but you know, I guess in context it still made sense. There's also... Was he, though? Because I feel like I heard that before, that Sean and Wheatley were the same actor, but I don't... But is that true? I'm about to look it up. I'm gonna Google right now. Okay. Just result. Thank you for saving me the Google. Okay, Thomas Was Alone. Very fun little game. Nice. Let's see. Finally, we got one of the Castlevania songs in here. Yeah, now more than ever, huh? I'll put it up here, I think. That's every game that I played this year. Let's go ahead and delete this row, and there was no D tiers. It's not deleted yet. We're going into the reassessment phase. Let's start with this, because the more I think about it, the more I actually want to drop Brothers down here. And I'm not sure if I really do. Because I'm looking at it and I'm like... But here, yeah, the thing is, like, I like Haunted Castle more. But I would... Haunted Castle Revisited. But I wouldn't put it in A tier. And I'm looking down here, and see, I moved Quake down from earlier. And I'm like, relatively, are these all actually equal? Because, you know, nah, this feels right. This feels right to me. In order of games I wouldn't really want to go back to from... This is the ones I would sooner go back to, the ones I would least go back to. Or least go back to, I guess these two. So yeah, no D tier. Design for enjoyment, yeah. Like this, from this up are the games I would all go back to at some point. So, like, let me reassess the B tier is the main thing. And I think I would actually put Old Blood. No, my Castlevania bias is winning out here. Cryptstalker stays right here. Super Donkey Kong 99. No. I like the fact that I played 40 games. In fact, I intentionally played Thomas Was Alone as my final 40th game because, like, that's a nice whole round number. I don't know how many games I'm going to get to in 2025, though. It's because this is unusual for me. I think last year I did 29 games, so... And it wasn't because I played more short games this year. There were plenty of short games from last year as well. Let's reassess the B tier as a whole. I think this is fine as is. Yes, I'd rather play Banjo-Tooie over Odalis again. I'd rather play Odalis again over Doom 2. More randos? Yeah, it could be. Demon's Souls is a game over sooner play again over Banjo-Tooie. But the Doom 64 is a smoother experience. Doom Eternal, I think, is better than Doom 64, even if it is a little bit too much. Xenosaga is a personal bias level. I think the B tier is fine as is. A tier. Really, Celeste 64 would be higher if it weren't for the mechanical issues that I had. That might not be, because I think I've talked to other people about this and they didn't have the same weird depth perception problems that I had with it. Which again, I don't usually get those with platformers, so I'm not really sure. Oh good, the best Sonic Lost World song before the end. I think leave these three as they are. These four, probably. Like, Little Kitty Big City is a good game, but it is the lower side of A. Because eventually it does run out of stuff to do. I'm not saying because it's a short game, it's just like... Nah, whatever. Ori and Nightmare Cart. I'm gonna swap these. 13 new games. I mean, that's still enough for a top 10. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put Ori above Doom, actually. These two are staying together. Sigil is just a Doom episode. But still. That feels right. I think the rest of these do feel right. Wolfenstein New Order is... It's my tier list. I really loved RZ for multiple reasons. New Order is really good. Moving Toto above it too, fuck it. But no, I think it stays right there. Because in some ways it does feel a little bit more... I'm not going to call it generic, but comparatively more standard FPS with just a story that can be really invested in. But the gameplay of these are just... Well, the gameplay of this especially is too good for me, and this is just a lot of levels of fun. Yeah, I've got to let my Zelda bias show here. Dark Souls is really good. I'm glad I played it again. But it's Zelda. A really good Zelda is going to win me out over other stuff. And the S tier, I think S tier doesn't move. It's tough though. Again, these two are just really fantastic experiences. And worth playing. This is an emotional ride. This is here for the emotional part of things. And for the moments where you can go, ooh, I'm so smart. Right down and put it in a creek. Is it a creek? Is that a fancy new thing for... No. I know what you're doing. Banjo-Kazooie, one of the best 64 games, if not the best 64 game. Stands the test of time for the most part, but does get mostly outclassed by the rest. These top four are really where I need to hunker down and think. I think Bloodborne does stay minimum number 2. So, like, these two might need to be moved around a bit. Yeah, I prefer shorter Metroidvanias, honestly. I love Hollow Knight, but it is long. That's the thing, Doom is so cool. Nether Crab's Treasure is so fun. I feel like if I played Nether Crab's Treasure? Nether Crab's Treasure a second time, I would have a more solidified feeling of where I'd put this. I could see it being above Doom. As it stands right now, I think Doom is going to edge it out a little bit. Doom is just so fun. But so is this game. Like... It really comes down to, am I pulling the trigger on Shadow Generations being my actual game of the year? And I think I am. Here's the other thing I didn't mention when I was talking about it. I replayed the stages over and over and over, and not just because I was trying to get all the little collectibles. They're just so well designed, and they give me a positive brain feedback, good happy feels in the brain. Because And like Bloodborne is rewarding too, in a different sense, but Shadow Generations is rewarding to a long-time Shadow fan as well. There is a strong emotional attachment. Shadow Generations is the game of the year. I'm sticking with it. And if we can peek through this list and see the games that actually did come out this year. I think I lied. RZ came out this year. Oh wait, get the list open. Yeah, RZ was the first game that came out this year that I played. I think I said Another Crab's Treasure was. It's not. Like scroll through that. What else came out this year? Let's see. Shadow Generations, Another Crab's Treasure. I'm gonna write it out as I go. Shadow Generations, Another Crab's Treasure, RZ, The Jewel, Clackety Clack of Fairmore. Click the wrong thing. Okay, what else on this list? Nightmare Cart. Keyboard, please. Haunted Castle Revisited. I guess those 5 are the only 5 games that came out this year that I played. Oh wait, I missed one. Missed 2. Right above here. What order were those again? Little Kitty Big City, then Celeste 64. Beat Ocarina of Time. Pog. Let's skim through it again. That was this year. That was this year. I skimmed over Echoes of Wisdom somehow. Duh. I am totally losing my brain. That was this year. 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 Got all 3 of those already, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. That was this year. That was technically last year. Okay, yeah. So we have a top 8 list. Shadow Generations, Another Crab's Treasure, Echoes of Wisdom, RZ, Nightmare Cart, Little Kitty Big City, Celeste 64, Haunted Castle Revisited. A top 8 of 8 really good games. Like that's the list. That's the top 8 games I played this year that are all good. And, well, I guess this is our tier list. 40 games ranked. We've got 8 S tiers. We've got 13 A tiers. We've got 11 B tiers. And we got 8 C tiers. That adds up, right? Did I do it wrong? 8. 21. Alright, let's count. 32, 40. Yeah, okay, we're good. We got them all. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get to this many games in 2025, because this is a wild year. It was helped by Castlevania. I played 5 different Castlevania games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 new games in Castlevania, rather. It helped that Echoes of Wisdom came out, that I played 3 fucking FromSoft games. I don't actually remember what's on the docket for 2025 in terms of games I'm excited for. Mina the Hollower, maybe? I think it's supposed to be 2025. Time Spinner 2 if we're lucky. So there might be some good games coming out. I hope there's some good games coming out. And if there's not, there's still plenty of old games I can get to. I bought several games off the Steam sale when I get to. And of course, I'm working on Dark Souls 2, but with the Assassin Club. You came every week and a half on average, you know? Shit. Yeah. How did I manage that? Well, thank you for doing the math, Mikey. I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. I'll save this and post it. I've apparently got a New Year's Eve party to go to, so I'm gonna do that. Who can we send the love on to? We've got Crystal playing Fae Farm? Oh, sorry, this Crystal's birthday donathon. I'm not really sure all the specifics. We can rate Crystal. Let's put her up to prepare. Yeah, I'm gonna be bouncing after this. And to be fair, there are like 2 or 3 crystals in the community. Yeah, I'm very satisfied with where I got here. Let's see. Thank you, Left for the resub. Thank you, Obi and Mark, for the raids. And that wraps up 2024 in the streaming sense. I think it was an overall good year for streaming. And I hope to make it next year an overall good year for streaming. It's a wrap. I will get like a little bit on the heavier side because, yeah, we don't know what this next year is going to hold for us, and hopefully it doesn't become as bad as we all fear it will be. Maybe some miracle will happen, but we're going to pull through together. Now more than ever, reach out to your friends and stick together and lift each other up. And enjoy, be joyful in any way you can. So in that sense, Happy New Year. And yeah, I'm gonna start the raid timer. We're gonna get through this together. Yeah, I'll be here doing what I do. As long as I'm able. I'll be, spreading the joy that I can, and they ain't gonna stop me. As always, have a good one. Thank you all for watching. Happy New Year.